Cruising around the YouTube, I stumbled on Charisma on Command. Lovely channel, highly recommended. And they had a video that was titled 5 Common Habits That Make People Instantly Dislike You. And I thought it was a really interesting concept. And so in this video, I'm gonna share those 5 ideas and then also some nuances and kind of do the reverse video of what are 5 common habits, the alternatives to that can really create an inviting space, an environment where people want to be a part of. Let's get into it. In the intro of this video, I hesitated to say, I'm gonna share 5 common habits to make people like you, because making people do anything is manipulative. And so I would much rather focus on how do we turn me, this focus, hyper-focus on me, to an others-centric focus of service, or a little bit more focus on we, or others. So I'm gonna walk through the 5 ways that he noticed, and he picked out a couple celebrities and said this is what they're doing and showed some clips. And so feel free to go check out that video up here if you would like to. Number 1 is reading negative intent in the room. So a really good way to get people to dislike you is to assume that they're always out to sabotage you. And the reason that causes dislike is that makes you defensive, right? That puts you in the fight, flight, or need to be right mindset. And I would invite you to let go of that need to be right and actually assume positive intent until proven otherwise, right? This is kind of a common phrase that floats around leadership development circles. Assume positive intent until proven otherwise. If you really want people to like you, not only like you, but get on board with you, be clear about your intention and share it with the other. And ideally that intent will be positive. And so when you share it with the other, it brings people into that world, into that environment with you. Number 2, you really want to get people to dislike you? Be sarcastic all the time. Was that I think that might have been sarcastic actually right there. That's kind of interesting. I had to pause for a minute and think about that. Will Wise, my co-author who wrote this book all about creating conversations that really matter, tuned me into the fact that the Greek root of the word sarcasm is, and who knows how you pronounce this in Greek, somebody can, I don't know, leave a voice message in the comments, which you can't do. If you can do it, I'll be extra impressed. Sarcasm. And it means to tear flesh. It's interesting, right? Because if I walk up to you and I say, you look really great today, or nice hair, and I'm being sarcastic, it kind of tears you apart, or at least tears you down in that capacity. And so if you want to create a really inviting environment, be really conscious of when you use sarcasm. Will would say don't use it and work on, take on the self-work of cutting sarcasm out of your vocabulary. I'm not quite so strong on that. I think if you're using sarcasm that's not at anybody's expense and that actually helps make a point or teach something or creates a laugh, not at anybody's expense, then it's totally okay to use, because you're not tearing flesh, you're tearing things, right? It's not bad if I tear paper. It's just bad if I tear somebody up. And so if I'm being sarcastic about a thing, not a person, a thing or a place or an idea, and it's not attached to a person, then in that case, I would say that you can use sarcasm very strategically as a humorous element. Number 3 that Charisma on Command shared was don't jump on every opportunity to call praise and attention to yourself. Have you ever noticed kids, like in a group of kids, there's always like a few kids who are like, look at me, 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 look at me. And all kids have that to some extent. Here's the thing though, even though as we grow taller, that doesn't go away, it just gets masked. And it comes out in slightly different formats. And so when we're adults, most of us have, whether we've realized it or not, a deep desire to be liked, to be accepted, to belong. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's wired into our DNA. But if you want to be disliked, use every single moment and opportunity to turn the focus onto you and how wonderful you are. I have this running theory that as your awesomeness increases, your relatability decreases. And so if you want to be really relatable, think about sharing your own failures and highlighting other people's successes, as opposed to saying, oh yeah, Jessica did this terrible thing, it was awful in the office, and so I had to pick up her slack and fix everything, and I actually got promoted because of right? That doesn't make you any more likable to put others down. It might feel good, you might get this like little quick endorphin hit of like, ha ha ha, and there's some weird peacock hierarchy thing going on, but in the long run, putting others down does not lift you up. It only actually tanks your likability when you put others down. Number 4, it talks about, it's related, but don't worry about winning each moment of banter. In my work with leaders and educators, I talk about the power of distinguishing between listening to win and listening to understand. And when we listen to win, we're listening to one-up the other. We're listening for all the ways that we can add to the conversation, which none of these are inherently bad. But there is immense power when we shift over to a mindset of listening to understand, where we're not worried about winning or losing. Because if you win, someone else loses. And if you want that person to like you and they're losing, the chances that they're gonna like you more because you beat them are pretty slim. And so just let go of winning and losing. You don't have to win or lose everything. You can actually just be present in a conversation and pay attention, and somebody doesn't have to leave with a trophy. And we don't have to actually give everybody a trophy either. We can actually just have a conversation, just have a connection, just be in dialogue with each other without worrying about who's right, who's wrong, who won, who lost. Number 5, I'm super psyched to share about. In Charisma on Command, he shares about this idea of handling compliments poorly. And so there's a couple ways that he talks about that, and you've probably experienced them yourself, but some really common ways are, oh, that's a really nice, that's Steven, who's behind the camera right now. If I say, Steven, nice shirt, right? Yeah. Ooh, Steven followed a very lovely best practice, which I'm about to share with you in a moment. Often what happens when you compliment somebody, one of two things happens. Either they say, oh, this old thing, I got it at Goodwill, right? They kind of like shove it off. They're like, whatever. Like they kind of just take almost like compliment jujitsu, where they take a compliment and then like, whoof, and they shift that energy down over here. Or, I don't know what the martial art for this is, but you receive a compliment. The other common option is to mirror it right back and to say, oh, nice shirt. Oh, your shirt though. Or, oh, I love your earrings. Steven's not wearing earrings, but right? To throw a compliment back. Neither of those are horrible. They're not bad. No one's gonna make, break, or die from a relationship where somebody either shirks off a compliment or mirrors it back. However, if you're trying to be really intentional, especially if you're in a group context as a leader, if you're trying to really invite people to accept compliments, what I'm about to tell you is a really profound little nuance and secret of how to both give compliments and, just as importantly, how to receive compliments really well. I was actually leading a workshop with a group yesterday, and I wanted to plan a really intentional closing exercise. And I wanted to close with their words, not mine. And so I actually split them out into breakouts on Zoom. They actually had spent multiple weeks together. It was a part of the 6-week-long Connectors Lab that me and Will were facilitating with a group of 20 people. And we split them out into a few different groups with the aim of giving affirmations to people as opposed to just appreciation. So affirmation is like compliment 7.0. So appreciating someone for what they do, that's nice, cool, it's good. Affirmation, affirming someone for who they are, runs a little bit deeper. And so we invited them to split out and give affirmations to each other. But level 2 of this was we invited people to receive those affirmations in one of 3 very particular ways, or 4, I can't remember, we're gonna find out. Number 1, exactly what Steven did, thank you. That's it. There's some magic in just saying thank you and just receiving that affirmation, receiving that compliment. Or you could say, thank you, I liked hearing that. Or if you really like hearing that, you could say, thank you, I liked hearing that, can you tell me more? And invite a little bit more out of that person, more context, more story, more etc. Or you can say, thank you, I really liked hearing that, can you write that down in a letter and send it to my mom or significant other or whoever else? Probably wouldn't recommend doing that one, but when I'm actually facilitating a group or working with people and I give them 3 of those options, say thank you, I like hearing that, tell me more, or thank you, can you write that down in a letter and send it to blank? which this one is more intended for humor purposes. It gives people permission to just receive the compliment. And if you want to be more likable, if you want to create an environment of likability, it's okay to just say thank you really genuinely. You don't have to discard their compliment. It feels good to give people affirmations. And it would be like if I gave you a gift and then you were like, oh, cool, like, and then I set it down over here. Or I gave you a gift and you're like, oh, cool, like, here, you can have it back. As opposed to, oh my gosh, thank you. And you just open it up and you just really appreciate it in that moment. Whew, if you like this, you'll love these videos. You'll love the free resources in the description. I'm Chad Littlefield. I create videos quite often to help leaders and educators make connection and engagement really easy. Have an awesome day.